Good morning and welcome, fellow Sovereigns. I'm partway up the Paffamar Hills, 224 metres high above sea level or something, and the sea's just down there, so that's basically what we're climbing today. Um, One reason I'm doing it partway up is because I'm puffed, very unfit, and the other reason is I don't know about the internet at the top, so I'm doing it while I can. And so on the way here, there's an advertisement on the radio telling us, particularly older people, that because we're getting old, we're becoming more susceptible and more fragile and more likely to get shingles, and therefore we need to go and get a shingles checkup, and possibly we need to go and get some kind of medicine that will stop us getting shingles because we're so frail and because we're susceptible to everything and our immune systems are breaking down. And we all know that's a load of codswallop. For example, shingles is it's a skin problem, and most skin problems are about self-loathing. And I remember many years ago when my wife and I stayed with her auntie down in Wellington, and we had a lovely evening, and we stayed the night and with the two kids, with Ian and Chris. And the next morning he had to go off to a very important business meeting, and he was all ready, and off he went, and he rushed back into the house because something he couldn't find. I think it was the keys. Couldn't find his keys, and he was wild. He was angry, and he was swearing at Chris, and you stupid bitch, why don't you bloody leave them where not move things around. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I've touched them at all, and and it was all her fault, and he was just getting absolutely rabid. It was disgusting. And anyway, eventually he went on for probably 5 or 10 minutes. He's scouting through the house and in and out and yelling at her, and she was desperately trying to appease him and all the rest of it. And eventually he found his keys, and he walked off. It was actually his fault. He'd put them in the wrong place. And I turned around, I noticed Chris, and her skin was just going red from here up. It was just, you could see it. This red was moving up her whole face, and she was prone to shingles. And it occurred to me that that's what caused the shingles, the abuse from Ian. Is my hand in the way? Oh, okay. That's the shadow. It's me. I am my shadow. And so it prompted me to do some research. And it seems that shingles and most other skin complaints are about self-loathing, when we doubt ourselves, when we hate ourselves, when we detest ourselves. And it's interesting that pimples turn up in that very, very vulnerable time of our lives, in the teenage years, when we are so vulnerable and kind of, we care about what other people think. We're terrified of not looking right. And so those kind of skin complaints are about our self-acceptance or self-loathing, self-confidence, all that sort of, who am I, and do I have a right to be here? Am I good enough? All that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's a sort of a sideline. But I think it's important to listen to these messages, whether it's from our own ego, our own self-doubt, if you like. You can't do this, you won't manage this, you can't do that, last time you did this, it didn't work, rah, that's the ego stuff. And so I'll just turn this around. I think I can do it here, because I'm sitting halfway up a hill, and here we are. Because those messages are everywhere, from within and from without. And on the radio was this message to us oldie people, that we're frail, and that our immune systems are breaking down, and we're going to get sick unless we go to someone else for help, which is an absolute load of rubbish, because the answers are within. If we do get shingles, we can stop and listen to our intuition. Yes, it's a cloudy day, and our intuition will tell us exactly what the problem is. That it's time to start accepting ourselves, who we are. People talk about loving yourself, but for me that sounds too ethereal. It's kind of hard to say, what does that mean? But if we accept ourselves, I guess loving comes through that. So here I am up the hill. And so I think it's healthy to listen to those negative voices, whether it's on the radio, on the TV, because they're everywhere, and just acknowledge them for what they are. They are actually a reflection of our own inner voice, our own ego. So we're going around here. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to face the hill that we're going to be going up soon. There, that's not it. So that's a little knob, and then we'll go around that, over that, then up the main hill later. So there, this is where I am, and that's the beach out there, which you can just see through the misty fog. Same thing, isn't it? Mist and fog, mist and mog. So I just think it's helpful to listen to those voices and go, thank you, I heard you. You're trying to put me down. You're trying to disable me. You're trying to weaken me. And this is to radio announcers, television announcers, all sorts of other people, as well as our own. And so thank you. I know what you're trying to do. And I don't accept it. So it's just listening. And acknowledging which is the voice of truth and which is the voice of fear. And when the voice of fear, it always speaks first and it always speaks loudest. And then that quiet voice of God, of Spirit, comes in quietly afterwards, and that's the true voice. And so that's all I've got to say. And oh, here we go again. That's me. So oh, my hand's in the way. Forgot. So I wish you a wonderful day of listening to the negative voice, smiling at it, knowing it has to say its thing. It just got to go. It's got to go yap, yap, yap. You can't stop it. Let it go, and then allow that still, quiet voice of truth to arise. So I wish you a day of listening, of letting go, and bless you and all who sail in her.